Hello again. We're going to do a quick overview on the different people that we need to know for the revolution. We will go into them in more detail in a moment, but for now, you need to at least familiarize yourself with the names. We talked a bit about Tsar Nicholas II. He was bad at his job. He did poorly. A lot of people died because of him, and thus the revolution. We'll go into more detail on how the revolution exactly started in a few minutes. Moxie, are you playing with that without me? How dare you? Um, we'll get onto that in a minute. It's important to note that Lenin was leader of the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks were the people who were pretty much the Communist Party. They led the revolution to kick out the Tsar, and in the end, they ended up winning. Spoiler alert. Lenin was very much inspired by Karl Marx, who is known as the father of communism. It's important to note that Karl Marx was not from Russia. He had no direct influence on the revolution itself. However, he did influence Lenin with his ideas on communism. This is Moxie, by the way. I'm sorry. She was being too cute, and I felt like you guys deserved to see her. Okay, thank you for that, Moxie. You're very patient with me. You're welcome to hang out, too. All right. So communism is very much what this is all about. You need to understand what communism is in order for us to be able to move forward. Sorry for all the random pauses. Kitty's been kitty. Communism was a form of government where no one technically owned anything. Communism, the land was publicly owned, and people got ideally what they needed. The pros of communism, if it works, which is ideal, is that there's an elimination of classes. Classes don't exist. Rich, poor, no, everyone has the same. Everyone has what they need. Very Star Trek, especially original series Star Trek, but that's a whole nother discussion. I might make that its own lecture. The cons of communism is that it's very easy to take advantage of it. It can very easily fall into pieces. Communism in an ideal society would work, would be awesome. No rich, no poor. There you go. However, it would only work in an ideal world, and it very much implies that there's no greed. So someone who just didn't do any work would end up getting the same as someone who did a lot of work. So communism has its ups and downs, as opposed to what we use, capitalism, which is very much everyone has more independence, has more freedom to create their own business or to work as a low-level part of a business. There is a lot of competition. It's not just, I'm going to be low-level management, but it's very much everyone for themselves. The downside of capitalism is that it does very much promote a big difference or result in a big difference between higher class and lower class, rich and poor. So those are some important things to note. If we think back to our last Prezi slide, Tsar Nicholas II had a lot that he could have given out in terms of food and resources, but he didn't do that. So we could see why Lenin would very much like those tenets of communism. The people higher up would be responsible for divvying out what they had. So Karl Marx, while did not directly take part in the war, definitely influenced it. Joseph Stalin and Leon Trotsky, we will definitely hear a lot more about them later. It is important to note that while Lenin was in charge of the Bolshevik Party, he eventually died before he could really start leading Russia after the revolution. All right, we'll move on to the next slide where we'll talk in more detail about the revolution itself. Have a good day, guys. Do good things.